This season, let your shoes do the talking. Designer Shoe Warehouse is packed with fresh styles that speak to your whole vibe without saying a word. From cool sneakers that look good with everything, to easy sandals you'll want to wear on repeat, DSW has you covered. Find a shoe for every you from the brands you love, like Birkenstock, Nike, Adidas, New Balance, and more. Head to your DSW store or visit dsw.com today.
AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's ride! Woo!
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, Matt!
Shut up, kid. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
And Mr. Toby Tomplake. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us. Saints had a walkthrough day today after their first full padded practice of camp. Ross Jackson was there. He's going to have his reactions up and posted shortly. There was one injury. JT Gray, Kellen Moore afterwards gave the injury update on JT Gray after the veteran safety left practice with a hamstring injury.
Yeah, JT, it'll be kind of a week-to-week thing. He'll be fine. We just got to go through that process. He had a little lower body injury, and so he'll be fine long-term though. Don't
want to certainly not going to overreact. JT Gray's been a great reserve safety and an even better special teams player. He's one of the best special teams players in the NFL, which is how he's continued to have a job year after year. I just think it is, by contrast of what happened with New Orleans a year ago, if you remember, in camp, where they were in California. And so the thought and the theory was the weather's nicer, it's going to be more conducive for guys staying healthier. Well, it was like every single day another player was injured. It started with Kendre Miller at the beginning of training camp. DeMario Davis got hurt. Do you remember, like, it was every day. It was almost like a punchline. Like, is this a sick joke? Every day someone else got injured. Now you're a week into training camp for the New Orleans Saints, and this is the first injury, is JT Gray with a hamstring. So they've stayed remarkably healthy so far through the early part of camp. Hopefully that does continue. Moore did also explain why they decided to have a walkthrough the day after. One full padded practice, then a walkthrough.
Our goal with kind of the pads yesterday, today we called it a regen day, just kind of recover. They were in the weight room, walk through, basically doing everything we normally do except for the practice component. And then after that, we got 2 days in pads. And so, now they got, tomorrow we'll get pads. They'll knock it out of the park. They'll do an excellent job. And then they got to respond the next day in pads again.
We are going to talk to Sean Fazende of Fox 8 in about 10 minutes from right now. He's been down there at camp. We'll get his thoughts on what he's seen and what maybe we're looking forward to here in these next few days before New Orleans heads out to L.A. for their week of practices, the joint practices, and then with Chargers, and then obviously the preseason game, number 1, a week from Sunday against the Chargers. It is After Further Review. We're brought to you by South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com. southpointvw.com. If you're in the market for a vehicle, put Volkswagen on your list. Tell you every single day, just put Volkswagen on your list. Go test drive one. You'll be thrilled that you did. If you're buying for yourself, if you're buying for your spouse, if you're buying for your child who's now driving, you want something that's affordable, but you also want the peace of mind of driving one of the safest vehicles on the road. I get that every time I buckle into my Volkswagen Atlas Cross Sport, when Erica drives in her Volkswagen Atlas, when I buckle Drew into his car seat, I know I'm driving one of the safest vehicles on the road. That's also really fun to drive. They got a current owner bonus right now as well, where you can get $1,500 loyalty bonus. You can check it out online at southpointvw.com for all of the dealer specials. southpointvw.com. South Point Volkswagen, what's your direction? We talked to J.D. Piquel at SEC Media Days, and when we talked to him, J.D. was leaning toward LSU, picking LSU to win the national championship. J.D. Piquel, if you're not familiar, is with On3. And he has gone on record now over at On3 on his show, The Hard Count, and on the On3 website. J.D. Piquel has picked LSU to win not only the SEC, but also to win the national championship. So as far as I know, I think J.D. Piquel becomes the first national media member that I've seen anyway to predict LSU to win the national championship here in 2025. For what it's worth, JD, if you're not familiar, he did play college football. He played in the Ivy League. He played at Cornell. Really smart guy. Well, obviously he's smart. He played at Cornell, but great dude. Really enjoyed getting to know him at media days the past couple of years. Loved that he picked LSU to win the national championship. But he told us back at media days why he was so high. I mean, the way I phrased it to him, I was like, if you're not driving the LSU bus, like you're sitting shotgun, like you're in the front row of the bus for of maybe the NUS bus for 2025. Here's what he said.
I think so much of it is the climate of the SEC right now. Like, we're looking across the board, and everyone said this, I feel like, ad nauseum, but there's so many just new dudes pulling the trigger. You start to, do the process of elimination of, like, quarterbacks you believe in, and I'm like, I know what Garrett Nussmeier is. I know, at the very least, I know what he is as a first-year starter. And he gets another year. He gets more weapons. They went to work in the transfer portal. And, I for better or for worse, I don't think I'm in the camp of Brian Kelly being the problem. Now, is he without flaw? Is he a perfect head coach? I don't think that exists. But this idea that he's the one holding them back, guys coached over 20 years and won 70% of his games, north of that, probably not the main issue, so to speak.
The other thing that JD mentioned in his On3 show, and I think there is absolutely validity to this. Sometimes we start to craft narratives around coaches, and they become accepted until they become disproven. For example, we coined a phrase, not we, collectively college football, Clemsoning, for a long time. I mean, for about the first 8 years that Dabo Swinney was the coach at Clemson, Clemsoning was their inability to win a big game until they won 2 national championships, beating Nick Saban's Alabama Crimson Tide in both of those championship games. Clemsoning all of a sudden wasn't a thing anymore. Ryan Day. Ryan Day, a month before he hoisted the national championship trophy, lost to a 500 Michigan squad. And a lot of Ohio State people wanted him fired for losing 4 straight to Michigan. And then they win the national championship, and you don't really hear that much anymore. That's just kind of the narrative that follows coaches until it doesn't anymore. And Brian Kelly is in that number. He's in that number. Look, that was Mac Brown for years. Mac Brown, they won, it was clockwork. 10 wins at Texas. Clockwork. But they could never get over the hump and win a championship until they did with Vince Young in 2005. And so it feels like Brian Kelly's in that same group. He's an undeniably great coach. He's been a head coach for 35 years. He's the winningest active coach in college football. All the things we've seen and said. He got Notre Dame to the BCS championship game, got him the 4-team playoff twice. Like, Brian Kelly is objectively a very good head football coach. Is he capable of winning a national championship? Well, that's why he's here. And if the narrative is he's what's holding LSU back, well, that can be the narrative until it isn't anymore. Now they have to go win and prove it. They got the roster to do it this year. But the other part of what JD said there that y'all know I completely agree with is the quarterback component of it. I mean, maybe I am just more bullish on Garrett Nussmeier. I know a lot, like, people here are bullish. I'm just thinking, outside. A big part of it, yes, is being bullish on Garrett Nussmeier. Another part of it is very much taking a wait-and-see approach with the other guys that a lot of people are assuming are going to be really good. Maybe Arch Manning is awesome, or maybe he has a lot of growing pains in the first year as a starter against a really tough schedule. I mean, Lenora Sellers averaged 150 yards passing for the first half of the season. He was objectively very bad throwing the football. And then he improved in the second half of the season. But then they went to Clemson and scored 17 points. Were they really that good? They got locked up in the bowl game and lost to Illinois. I mean, it wasn't great. We could talk about DJ Lagway. He was 6-1 as a starter. That's very impressive. He also had almost identical stats to Michael Van Buren, who nobody lauds. I guess that's just the point, is whether it's coaches or players or whatever, narratives get built. I go into a season making projections thinking, what do I know? What do I know? Who has the fewest questions against the most manageable schedule? And that's one of the reasons. I mean, that's why I like LSU. That's why I picked LSU to win the SEC. I think they should be in the SEC championship game. I've said pretty routinely, I think they're 10-2. I'd pick them to lose to Clemson, go 7-1 in the league, get to Atlanta, win there, and hopefully go on a run in the playoff. But J.D. Pickell not only picking LSU to win the national championship, he's picking LSU to be the number 1 seed in the college football playoff and to run the table through the college football playoff. So see if the Tigers can prove J.D. Pickell prophetic. Would love to see it. But that's at least one national media member who's riding with the Tigers here in 2025. All right, it is after further review from the purple and gold to the black and gold. Sean Fazende, Fox 8 New Orleans. He's here next on AFR.
AFR.
GLO, glowresources.com. What industry do they service, Matt? All of them? You mean accounting? Yep. What about legal? Yep. What about broadcasting? Sure do. What about construction? All of it. Skilled blue-collar labor, professional placement division with any white-collar job. If you need to find the right people to make your business more efficient, you need Glow Resources. That's the best way to say it. And one of the things I love, in getting to know Jareth Nakan and the company and the culture they've built, which is so amazing, they still keep Baton Rouge and New Orleans as home base. Listen, they have offices in Miami and Orlando and Houston and all over the place. And they service companies all over the world, literally. But their corporate headquarters are still on Perkins Road in Baton Rouge next to Pennington. And Baton Rouge and New Orleans are still home base. So if you need the right people, you need Glow Resources. Check them out at glowresources.com.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Saints had a walkthrough on Tuesday. Back at it, full pads on Wednesday. Sean Fazende, Fox 8, good enough to join us for a couple of minutes. Yo, man, how are you?
Good, man. How are you?
Doing really well. Sean and I have seen each other twice this summer. Once in Boston at Fenway and once at the Smoothie King Center for Porter Holloway. I don't know how that keeps happening. That's a very odd thing, especially the Fenway thing, right?
Dude, when I saw that tweet, I'm like, whoa. Moscona's here? I'm in Fenway, too. You tweeted about that Aaron Judge home run. I was like, wow, okay. Pretty cool, but that was a hell of a game.
It didn't end like we wanted it to, but then again, the Yankees stink right now, so whatever. We'll just move on. I don't know if the Saints are any better to talk about, but let's do it. All right, so about a week into training camp, if I asked you if you had a handful, maybe of biggest takeaways so far, where would you start?
Yeah, I'll just start with just the overall operation of training camp. The practices are unlike anything I've ever covered. We've covered training camp down here a long time, and I'm just so used to the 2.5-hour marathon practices with 30 to 45 minutes worth of hydration breaks, unlimited. It felt like endless drills, where all of a sudden you're putting in a 2.5-hour practice where I've never seen the lightning, fast pace that Kellen Moore likes to work with. OTAs, I was a little concerned because they really didn't do much. OTAs are light in general, but this was even lighter for that. So once training camp rolled around, first couple of days were ramp up, but really the last 2 or 3 days when we were out there, seeing how much work they were able to get done in an hour and 20 minutes was really something else. So no wasted motion, very intentional, very fast. It's a new generation way of thinking. Previous head coaches with Dennis Allen and Sean Payton, a little bit more at this stage of the game, a little bit more old school in their approach. Kellen Moore is the guy that seems to consult with the sports science staff a lot, and they're getting a lot of work in a very short period of time. In the last 2 practices, and the time it takes to get three team periods in, they were able to get 4, the amount of reps for 4. So very detailed, intentional, quick. You don't see a lot of endless drills. You don't see a lot of standing around. It's get in, get your work done, and get out. That's probably been my biggest takeaway so far.
Sean, last year, I was mentioning this, last year in Los Angeles, or in California, it seemed like in the first week there was an injury every day. It was almost like it became comical, almost like a punchline. So far, JT Gray's hamstring is I think, as we know, the only injury so far. Do you have anything you would attribute that to, or is that just kind of a luck thing?
Well, I guess it's a little bit of both, but I do know they've been very, very intentional about approaching the health aspect. Because look, we all watched what happened last year. I mean, there wasn't the hotter team in the NFL than the Saints after the first 2 weeks of the season, and the entire season, the train went off a cliff basically because of the insurmountable amount of injuries. And every year your goal is to get better in training camp, but also stay healthy. Somewhere is on that list of priorities. It just feels like it's much higher up the priority list in terms of staying healthy. And if that means, shortening practice, if that means, being a little different when you talk about, the stress they put on their bodies, whatever the case may be, it does feel like they've been very intentional. Now, look, football is still football, contact is still contact, and things happen. So sometimes that can be a little random and a little, unlucky. But at least early on, you're talking about, you're starting to see around the league just a few injuries pop up, some big, some small. But early on, I mean, it's been a pretty clean bill of health, knock on wood.
He's Sean Fazende, Fox 8 in New Orleans. What about on the field? Player or position group that's caught your eye so far?
Well, obviously all eyes are on the quarterback position right now, and I'm sure you're probably going to ask me about that, but I'll just get to it now because, look, it's been something that everyone wants to talk about, everyone's watching, everyone wants to see. And look, right now it's Spencer Rattler is ahead. There's no doubt about that. He's a guy that's just more decisive. He's have a better sense of timing. He hasn't been perfect, but he certainly, to me, it feels like the most comfortable right now executing the offense. Tyler Shuck is a guy that just right now the hesitancy, the indecision is killing him. It's sort of locking him up a little bit to where it's almost forcing an incomplete evaluation because there's just been so many instances in terms of practices where no decision has been made. So you see him about to throw a pass, pull back, he's indecisive, and so you're not even evaluating the football aspect of it. You're just you're trying to get him to get to the point where he's making decisions on time and in a timely fashion. It's just a lot of things happening. He's swimming a little bit right now. That's to be expected for a rookie. And obviously Jake Hanner is mixing in with the ones. But all in all, that's been where, the attention has gone. But other positions, I'm really liking what I've seen so far out of the edge pass rusher position with Chase Young, Carl Granderson, and Cam Jordan rotating in and out there. They had a really good day, the first day of pads. It's always hard to get a true gauge just because they're going up against, your own team. But as far as a position group, I like where that group stands right now.
Sean Fazande's with us from Fox 8 New Orleans. The other thing that I think is interesting, you talked about Shuck, but he's part of the largest rookie class we've seen in New Orleans in a decade. And so you got a lot of guys there that they're hoping can build the foundation of this roster moving forward. Are there other guys among the rookies that, good or bad, seem to be standing out?
Yes. Well, Kelvin Banks is at left tackle. He had one-on-ones yesterday, held his own against Chase Young, and just threw Chris Rump to the ground at defensive end during one-on-one. He's a rookie, so he's got, obviously he's got a lot to learn, but This is the second year in a row. They're going to start a rookie tackle at left tackle. So he stood out. Danny Stutzman, the linebacker from Oklahoma, he's got a nose for the football that you just can't coach. He's just got to have that natural instinct. And there's been a few plays where he's popped just going sideline to sideline. And I don't remember him being a fast guy, but he seems to be in the right spot, which is A, football IQ, but B, you're getting the right read on the play. You understand where the ball is going, so you're in the right spot. And then Quincy Riley has one of the interceptions at camp so far. He got beat yesterday by Rashid Shaheed, but he also was able to make a nice play in the end zone, picking off Spencer Rattler. So the rookie class, there's certain guys that are developing, certain guys that are getting there. There's a lot of guys getting a lot of reps, but those will be the ones that have stood out so far.
What about the veteran additions? I feel like I'm hearing a lot about Devon Gottschall. Anybody else maybe that's making waves?
Trying to think of the veteran additions right now. Look, he just got here a couple of days ago, but Julian Blackman is a guy that I don't see how they're going to keep him off the field. I mean, retiring. They needed to get somebody quickly in here, and he's already stepped in and made plays. He got first-team reps today during the walkthrough, sure, but he still was able to get first-team reps. He's going to be hard to keep off the field. Trying to think of any other from the Justin Reed as well. I mean, the other safety there from but obviously from Baton Rouge area up there. He's another one that I think has made an impression early. He's going to be a starter as well. He seems to have more of a strong safety type where he gets down in the box. In fact, they did some dime work today where they had 3 safeties on the field, and it was Blackman and Jordan Howden the backfield, and defensive backfield split safeties with Justin Reed down in the box. So obviously there's some versatility there as well. Those would be a couple of the guys. We talked to Gottschall today. He's getting some reps. Obviously with the pads come on, you finally get a taste for what he can do well. And he's pretty open about the fact that he's a run stuffer. That's what he does in the NFL. That's how he's gotten on the field. That's how his career's lasted as long as it has. And honestly, that's what he was brought here to do. So Gottschall will be a guy that count on to stop the run as well.
Sean, let me ask one more if I can. We tend to focus a lot on the highly drafted guys, right? We've talked about Banks and we've talked about Fuaga, and I think a lot of people are curious with Penning moving over. It's been really quiet around Brian Brzee. Was a really good interior pass rusher last year. Do we know yet what we can expect or hope to expect from Brzee in Staley's 3-4 defense?
That's a great question because of what he was doing last year as that get up the field sort of pass rushing D tackle. Does the 3-4 system allow him to do that? Well, you hope so. You certainly hope so, especially since he really had to make up some ground in terms of stopping the run. I do think he's a guy that he's going to get on the field during pass rushing situations, and that when it becomes less of a 3-4 and more of a sub package type situation. Can he stay on the field all 3 downs if a D tackle and 3-4 system is basically there to stop the run? I think that's a legitimate question. He was the guy when Staley was hired and they announced the 3-4 system that I was the most curious about because of how good a year he had last year. And because D tackles are typically asked to do different things in the 3-4, but there are ways you can get around it where you can, line up at certain spots, even though it's a quote unquote 3-4. I do know this: they'd be foolish to lock up what he does well, and hopefully they can just figure out a system where he's still able to do what he does best, and that's get after the pass from the interior, because he was easily the best interior pass rusher they had last season.
He is Sean Fazende, Fox 8 in New Orleans, a walkthrough day for the Saints, back-to-back full padded practices to follow. You heading out to California?
I am. August 6th. As a matter of fact, I just booked my flight about a half hour ago, so I'll be out there.
I'll see you at Dodger Stadium.
All right, cool. Let me know.
Thanks, Sean. We appreciate it, man.
All right, bud. Appreciate it.
All right. No, I will not be going to L.A. I have traveled enough over the last 6 weeks that I probably just need to park it in Baton Rouge for several months. The last 6 weeks have been pretty whirlwind, from Boston to Maine to the beach in Florida to Atlanta for SEC Media Days, to Mexico, to Houston, New Orleans mixed in for the Poirier fight. No, I need to hang here for a little bit and do some work, especially with LSU hitting the practice field tomorrow. All right, it is After Further Review. We are brought to you by Our Lady of the Lake. Speaking of LSU hitting the practice field tomorrow, of course, the award-winning championship caliber physicians at Our Lady of the Lake and the trainers are the ones who will be caring for the LSU student athletes on the football field tomorrow and throughout the season. There are also the amazing physicians that care for the students and for everyday champions like you and me. Our Lady of the Lake and LSU championship health partners. And when it comes to Our Lady of the Lake, part of the Franciscan missionaries of Our Lady Health System, it's so much more than just, of course, it's a huge part of it, so much more than just caring for student athletes. Like, for example, the Our Lady of the Lake Cancer Institute provides expert care close to home, so you never miss a moment of what really counts. That's why at Our Lady of the Lake, they're the region's leading cancer treatment destination. That's why it all counts here at Our Lady of the Lake. It's Our Lady of the Lake, championship health partner of LSU Athletics. Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, together we roar. All right, y'all, glad to have you hanging out with us here. As we mentioned, we finally got the LSU fall camp practice schedule. LSU will be on the practice field Wednesday morning at 9:45 a.m. There is media availability. Brian Kelly will speak afterwards. I'll be there. I'll give you a full camp report when we're back. Also want to mention, I know we've talked about it a bit, but the court to table, Gordon McKernan, the spot that Gordon is one of the partners in the new pickleball concept. We're going to be doing AFR there on Thursday. Thursday is the start of the NFL preseason. The Hall of Fame game is Thursday night. So I'm going to be doing AFR at court to table on Thursday. We'll hang out a little bit after for the game. Highly encourage you, if you have not been, make it a point to get by, because I'm telling you, you're going to walk in there and go, this is going to be the place where I watch football now. Like, you're going to go on your Saturday, even if you don't play pickleball. Like, people who play pickleball know it, but like, you're going to walk in there and you're going to go, this is where I'll park it, at this table, this booth, whatever, and see every TV and watch every game on Saturdays, or your football Sunday for Sunday ticket. So it's going to be a great opportunity to get you to come out and just come through the door for the first time and see this new concept. Even if you love pickleball, you get it. Even if you don't, trust me, like, the restaurant bar area of it, like, is incredible. I've already been several times. Went one time with a client, was so impressed. We went back a second time with me, Erica, and Drew. And we took Drew because in the inside area, it's a big, giant open area space where he could kind of get up and walk around, and he does that sometimes. We don't have to worry about it. It's a great place for kids. It's just, trust me, you're going to love it. We'll be there for AFR on Thursday at Court to Table on Burbank. So make sure you come by and hang out with us for the show, or hang out and watch some of the Hall of Fame game after, have some dinner. We're looking forward to being there. Okay, quick break. We'll come back with LSU starting fall camp tomorrow. I want to give you my camp storylines as we push off from the dock. It's AFR.
AFR.
We're brought to you by River City's 1 hour air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. I got a text on the show text line just a bit ago from Terry, who said, hey, Matt, who's the go-to for AC service? And my answer is always River City's 1 hour air. Look for the big yellow vans and trucks with the giant clock on the side. With River City's 1 hour air, they've just got this thing perfected. It's why when you go look at the Google reviews, and I would recommend you go look at the Google reviews, it's why they've got more than double the amount of Google reviews, of 5-star Google reviews, of the next closest competitor, because they've just got this thing down to a science. Like, here's a Google review from James Houtman, who said, great service. Justin was friendly, wonderful to work with. He turned what's usually a stressful experience into a genuinely pleasant one. Highly recommend. Another 5-star Google review. They're going to give you a good, better, and best option. They're going to make you comfortable and knowledgeable. It's River City's 1 hour air. 752-0001.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Well, she ain't into cars or pickup trucks, but
as always, we appreciate our friends over at Sunshine, sunnyquip.com, sunnyquip.com. They're just the best, man. If you want a Deere, it's a zero-turn mower, a gator, tractor, all the farm equipment, you know where to go. Sunshine. And I cannot wait to tell you more throughout this football season as Grace and her team over there dive into more NIL deals. I mean, think about what they've done in the past with the Weeks brothers last year, holding up the big, posing with the big Gators. So much cool stuff that they've done through great NIL deals with LSU athletes. And, of course, Sunshine is a proud partner of LSU Athletics. Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Tigers hit the practice field on Wednesday for the first practice in fall camp. And I got 4 big storylines that I'm keeping an eye on here as LSU moves into fall camp. Number 1 is the most obvious. It's what we talked about a ton during spring, and you should know it by now. It's the single biggest question on this team, and it's the offensive line. You are replacing 4 starters that combined for 170 career games played. Now, they were all elite level pass blockers, but you were 104th in the country in rush offense. Can you be better? My contention is I think the interior of your offensive line is better because I think you're going to have people in the right seat on the bus. Braylon Moore is a true center. If I asked you, would you rather Braylon Moore or DJ Chester at center, who would you take? The answer is Braylon Moore. However, DJ Chester has started 13 games. Now he gets to move to guard. Big, physical, offensive lineman, a true guard in his natural position. If you have DJ Chester or how you finished the season last year with Paul Mabenga, who would you rather have? DJ Chester. The other guard spot, it's very likely going to be Josh Thompson. That was Miles Frazier. Veteran guys, very good pass blockers, can play inside or out, very comparable players. The question becomes at tackle. I will also maintain you're not going to be as good as you were with Will Campbell and Emory Jones. That goes without saying. But 2 guys there, and Tyree Adams and Weston Davis, who are highly regarded guys, who, if they struggle in pass protection, you can give them help with any of your tight ends. You have a veteran quarterback who can get rid of the ball quickly. That's assuming that's the offensive line, by the way, because you've still got so many other talented guys like Mabenga, who started 5 games a year ago. Or maybe Josh Thompson kicks out and ends up playing tackle because one of the guys we think are going to be there can't handle that role. Or maybe it changes after the opening week. Remember Brian Kelly's first year? It was Garrett Dellinger playing center against Florida State. A week later, he was gone, never went back to that spot. So it probably will evolve, but that's going to be interesting to watch for me. It's the number 1 storyline is offensive line. A close number 2 is the secondary. If there's a 1A, 1B, that's where it is. You were atrocious in the secondary a year ago. It was the worst safety play I've ever seen covering LSU. The secondary that's produced guys like LaRon Landry and Jamal Adams and Grant Delpit and Eric Reed, that safety play was atrocious. Your 2 lowest graded players among your starters, offense or defense, were Major Burns and Jordan Gilbert, your star and one of your safeties. That's inexcusable. It has to improve, so they tried to improve it. They went into the transfer portal and got A.J. Halsey and Tamarcus Cooley. You've got Jordan Gilbert back healthy. You've got Deshaun Spears, a year older now after starting at the first half of the season, then being benched. You've got better talent personnel. Can they be better? And then obviously at corner, you lose Alexander, who is your most consistent defensive back, but Ashton Stamps is back, who's now going to his 3rd year as a starter. You bring in Mansour Delane from Virginia Tech, who is the best cornerback you have. But then there's 5-star DJ Pickett, and there's Jakeem Jackson. There's P.J. Woodland. How do Jake Olson and Corey Raymond work together to get this secondary to gel as one? Because you're going to have more talent than you had a year ago, but can they all work as one cohesive unit similar to the offensive line? Might have more talent in that secondary, but can they work as one? I'll stay on the defensive side, and I'll tell you defensive tackle. It's probably one we haven't talked enough about, but Bo Davis deserves such an immense amount of credit for how good that defensive tackle room played a year ago. Remember, coming out of camp last year, you were out of spring. Remember, you lose Mason Smith, you lose Mekhi Wingo, you lose Jordan Jefferson. You lost all of your interior players. And you come out, you added Gio Paez in the first transfer portal. You come out of spring, and Brian Kelly says point blank, no ambiguity, defensive tackle is a must. And they add an interior rusher from Grand Valley State. They didn't get the impact player they needed. And the one most experienced guy that they had, Jacobian Guillory, goes down in the 2nd week, and he's lost for the year. And Bo Davis had to move Gio Paez inside and Paris Shand inside, and Ahmad Bro, a true freshman, had to give you real reps. And Dom McKinley, because of the toe injury, wasn't really ready until the halfway point of the season. The fact that they were as consistent, as stable as they were, was a remarkable job that Bo Davis did. Well, now Bo's with the New Orleans Saints. Kyle Williams comes in, and Kyle Williams, we've talked about it, wants a very different style of defensive lineman. He doesn't want the 6'5", 340, 350 pound Sadir Mitchell. Like he wants Bernard Gooden. He wants 6 foot 290, go blow up the launch pad like Kyle Williams was. So how does that work? Blending the personnel, changing the style a little bit. That's something we haven't talked enough about. Of course, Kyle Williams, this is his first college coaching job. It's a big ask in a season with a tremendous amount of expectation and a little bit of a challenge because of stylistically the different players that you have. Because a lot of guys that Bo Davis recruited that don't fit the style that Kyle Williams wants. That's one worth watching. And the fourth, I'll tell you, one guy I just mentioned, Jacobian Guillory, and the other Harold Perkins, their health. Those are two veteran defensive starters for you. Jacobian Guillory is in his 6th year, was expected to be your best defensive tackle a year ago. He misses all but 2 games. He comes back for a 6th season. How healthy is he? How in shape is he? How ready will he be to play week 1, August 30th at Clemson? And the same goes for Harold Perkins. Harold Perkins might be the greatest addition to this team. If he can regain the form of the All-American form that he flashed as a freshman, when he was freshman All-America, first team All-SEC, very productive as a second-year player on an atrocious defense, but never really found his position. Now he's found his spot. He's going to be at the star position. You were awful there a year ago with Major Burns. If Harold Perkins steps in and you're adding effectively an All-American talent to your defense that you didn't have a year ago, we're not spending enough time talking about that. But I'll remind you this. Last year, Zy Alexander was your best defensive back. That's inarguable at any metric. Your passes defensed, your PFF grades, all of it. But Zy Alexander was running 3rd team in fall camp because he wasn't fully back yet off the ACL. And in the first month of the season, they eased him in with the snap count until October. And then they went to South Carolina and he had the big interception in the end zone. And then by October, it was like, all right, you're never coming off the field. How quickly are Guillory and Perkins back to 100%, full bore, 100% every defensive snap? That's going to be a giant part of this, because if it takes them throughout camp to kind of get back into shape and then a month into the season to get back into playing shape, then, you're talking about a really big September where you're on the road at Clemson. You got Florida coming to Baton Rouge. Shortly thereafter, it's South Carolina, and then you're at Ole Miss. You don't really have the luxury of figuring it out for the first month of the season. It's not like one of those years where you play 3 non-conference games or you load up September with all your non-conference games before the real grind begins in October. You got to be ready to roll. So having those guys fully healthy will be interesting to see what their workload is on Wednesday at the first practice and as they start to sort of titrate up with the workload. So just a few of the storylines I'm keeping an eye on as LSU opens up fall camp on Wednesday. All right, y'all, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Windows door siding. Oh, yeah, they do shutters as well. When it is 97 degrees right now. 5:45 in the, I'm looking at the air temperature, not the heat index, the air temperature is 97 degrees. I don't even know what the feels like temp is right now. You want to, obviously that's dangerous. You're going to spend more time inside, not in the dangerous heat. But the other thing worth mentioning is when it's that hot, your AC is working overtime. It's very hard for your home to stay energy efficient. Well, that's where energy efficient replacement windows from Relief Windows can help. You install these windows. They're custom made. They measure twice, install once. Every window custom made for your home. So it reduces those costly air leaks. It keeps the cool air in, the hot air out. It's going to lower your energy bill. In time, it'll pay for itself. Also increases your home's resale value. And I haven't even gotten to the customer service yet, which is the best part. Because when you talk to Brandon Holly, he'll tell you their number one product. Their number one product. It's not windows, door siding, or shutters. Their number one product is customer satisfaction. And it's not just a tagline. It's something he demands from everyone in his organization, because Brandon says it all the time. Like your reputation, your name means everything. And in business, you have to be willing to spend your last dollar to make your customer happy. And Brandon and everyone at Relief Windows lives that. It's why they're the best. You'll pay more. They're not going to be the cheapest. If you're just going to get quotes to shop for the cheapest one, it ain't going to be them. But they will undeniably be the best, bar none. It's Relief Windows and reliefwindows.com. All right, y'all. Good show today, man. Shea Dixon was here in hour one. Old Slimbo, Ronnie Rance was here. The Rougarou were playing the Cane Cutters tonight. 2 out of 3 for the Louisiana Championship in the Texas Collegiate League. The winner will play on Saturday in the winner take all championship game. So that game out at Pete Goldsby Field, to the Gold Mine, as they call it now. John Blau covers Clemson, was here in hour 2. John Stinchcomb was here in hour 2 as well. Sean Fazende just a bit ago. Remember, if you miss anything, AFR On Demand presented by Breck Golf. Book your tee time at golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org. When I got our final break of the show, come back, find out what we learned. You get in an email, tweet, or text if you want to do it. Fire away. We'll wrap up next on AFR.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. If you've been injured in an accident, it's not your fault. Do what injured people in our state have done for 3 decades. Get Gordon and get it done. And, of course, Gordon's so invested in our community. We talk about all that he's done with the G team, with the laptop giveaway at graduation, with the bicycle giveaway around Christmas time. Gordon loves to give back. And a cool investment that Gordon and his partners made is at Court to Table in Baton Rouge on Burbank. If you haven't seen it yet, awesome restaurant and pickleball concept. When you walk up to it, there's a big breezeway down the middle. On the right is the pickleball courts. On the left is the restaurant and the bar. We'll be doing AFR from Court to Table on Thursday. So if you haven't been yet, this is an awesome time to come discover and experience Court to Table this Thursday, AFR from 3 to 6. And then we'll hang out after for the Hall of Fame game there as the NFL preseason kicks off. We'll look forward to you. Remember, get Gordon and get it done.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Down the stretch we come. Ooh, just kick that chair. Down the stretch we come. Final segment here on a Tuesday edition of AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. When does Otter return? My days and weeks are a little mixed up here.
Yeah, I'm not totally sure. I asked Jordan earlier to see if he knew. He doesn't, so I guess we just have to go straight to the source and bother Otter and Del Mar.
When I was in the airport, going to...
Yeah, you've been in an airport a lot.
I know. I think this was in the Houston air, because we had to fly from New Orleans to Houston to Cancun. I heard the Jimmy Buffett song, "The Weather Is Here, Wish You Were Beautiful." You know the song?
I do know the song.
I think that's Otter.
Yeah.
That's Jimmy.
It's Jimmy.
That's Jimmy at Del Mar.
Oh, man.
Um,
Also, that's wild that you were in the Houston airport and then had to drive right back to Houston.
Yes.
That's insane.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, such is life.
Travel's what it is.
Yeah.
You know, we could have flown. The only direct flights were on Southwest. And I'm not trying to throw shade, but I hate flying Southwest. I hate the cattle call. I hate not knowing my seat.
Nope.
I hate all of it.
And now the bags aren't even free.
Yes.
Like,
so we flew first class on United. We had plenty of space. The drinks were free. The bags were free. Even Erica's 75-pound bag that was over. Like, I took one medium. I had one medium-sized suitcase. She had her large suitcase. Then had to go buy another very large suitcase that was full and overweight.
Oh, you're
Anyway, I am at a point in my life. It's so interesting too. I don't know when this change happened in me, where I will pay for convenience. I don't buy a lot of things. I buy whiskey and I buy shoes, that like sneakers, like that. Those are my things. Everybody knows about me, but I don't really spend a lot of money on things. Like I don't have boats. I don't hunt or fish. I don't have like a hunting camp or fishing license or rods and reels, or I don't buy season tickets for anything. I I mean, like all the things that what do people spend money on here? Like I don't have hobbies. I don't restore cars. Like what are the things people I don't get out and do yard work. So my father-in-law's got every tool you can imagine. I don't have any of that stuff. But I will pay for convenience. Like I will pay to fly first class. I will pay to stay in a nice hotel. When I unfortunately do have to fly Southwest, I pay for the upgraded seat thing so I get on the plane first and sit where I want. And then I get pissed at the people they let on the plane who didn't do that. It's always like, if you have a small child, if you have trouble seeing out of your left eye, you can board now. I'm like, did they? Can I get on first and then these people get on? And then it's like 7 family members with them. Before you know it, I'm in row 17. Whatever.
What were we talking about?
I don't know. Otter, Del Mar, or something.
Oh, yeah. Jimmy Buffett.
I was in the Houston airport. Yeah, I think the next time I travel is going to be Nashville for the Vanderbilt game. I think that's the next time I travel. At least that I know of. But who knows? Muse, did you learn anything today?
Ocho Cinco don't pay nobody.
How about that? I got to remind Jesse to put that thing together. Paulie, what did you learn?
I learned you saw Sean Fazende in Boston.
I did see Sean Fazende in Boston.
AFR.
That was so weird. Brought to you by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. When Sean Fazende is there at Saints practice, you're checking out the Saints. They got the practice jersey patch. It's a Rouse's patch. Why wouldn't it be? 65 years in business. Rouse has been helping your mom and them make groceries. Love being able to tell you about Rouse's. They've been great to us. They've been great. When I say us, I mean us here on the show, but also us, our communities. Expanding Lake Charles to Orange Beach, points in between. At 65 years, they're still locally owned. Still expansion and growth driven, but sourcing everything they can locally. You walk into Rouse's, you just experience the difference. The selection, the friendliness, the cleanliness. It's just thoughtful and awesome, and I love going into Rouse's to do all my shopping. Rouse's.com, or download the Rouse's app. Football season's almost here, y'all. Rouse's, this feels like home.